Only 5% of seniors can do these 5 things after 70, improve longevity and health today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a simple yet startling observation. Only 5%, 5 out of every 100 people over the age of 70 can still do 5 basic things. Not extraordinary things, not superhuman feats, just 5 fundamental tasks that signal the difference between independence and dependence, vitality and decline. Now, let me ask you, do you want to be among the 95 who can't or the 5 who still can? Because here's the hard truth. Aging is not just a matter of time. It's a matter of choices, compounded daily. And if you think the body just falls apart because the calendar flips another year, you're underestimating the power of responsibility and discipline to transform your trajectory. That kind of thinking, that resignation, is the beginning of decay, not age itself. Now, let's talk about the 5 things. These are the benchmarks. If you can do them after 70, you're likely not only to live longer, but to live well. Standing up from the floor without using your hands might sound trivial, even laughably simple, until you realize how profoundly it reflects the state of your physical health. It's one of those movements we take for granted, right up until the moment we can't do it anymore. But the ability to rise from the floor using only your legs and core is actually one of the most powerful predictors of longevity and functional independence. This single action recruits multiple muscle groups, quads, glutes, hamstrings, abdominals, even spinal stabilizers, and integrates them into a coordinated effort. That means if you can do it, your system is intact. If you can't, it's starting to unravel. The truth is, it's not just a measure of strength. It's a measure of control, of integration, of how well your nervous system communicates with your musculoskeletal system. It's about balance, proprioception, spatial awareness, timing. It demands mobility in the hips, flexibility in the ankles, and enough cardiovascular efficiency to avoid feeling winded from the effort. It's not a task, it's a diagnostic tool. Research backs this up. Studies have shown that people who can sit and rise from the floor without assistance tend to live longer, healthier lives. In fact, in one longitudinal study, individuals who failed this basic movement were 5 to 6 times more likely to die within the next 6 years than those who could perform it successfully. That's not correlation. That's causation, staring you in the face. When your body loses the ability to execute primal movements, it's telling you the end is beginning. But here's the most important thing, it's trainable. You're not stuck where you are. Neuroplasticity doesn't vanish with age. Muscle doesn't stop responding to resistance. The nervous system can still be trained to fire more effectively. You can practice standing up from the floor the same way you would train for a marathon or a heavy lift. Slowly, repeatedly, with focus, with intention, and it will pay dividends. You want to live longer, you want to live better, start with the ground, train the movement, reclaim it, because the floor is not your enemy, it's your proving ground. It shows you what you're made of, and whether your body still serves you or has started to abandon ship. Walking briskly for 30 minutes without stopping might seem like an ordinary activity, something so mundane that it hardly deserves special mention. But embedded within that simple motion is a complex, high-stakes measure of your health, vitality, and future. The ability to walk continuously at a moderate or brisk pace for half an hour is not just about getting from one place to another. It's about sustaining forward motion, physically and metaphorically, well into your later years. When you walk briskly, your entire cardiovascular system is engaged. Your heart pumps faster, your lungs expand more deeply, your circulation improves. This rhythmic, repetitive motion boosts oxygen delivery to every cell in your body, including the brain. It sharpens cognition, stabilizes mood, and reduces the risk of degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. In fact, some of the most compelling research on brain health in seniors points to consistent walking as a key intervention, often more effective than medication. But walking isn't just about endurance. It's about posture, balance, rhythm, and muscular coordination. A body that can walk for 30 minutes without complaint is one that still moves efficiently. Every step involves a controlled fall. One foot lifts, the body shifts, the other foot catches you. That takes subtle strength, coordination, and the kind of neuromuscular intelligence that declines when not used regularly. And when that goes, what follows isn't just slower walking, it's falling, isolation, hospitalization. The real power of walking lies in its simplicity. You don't need a gym, a trainer, or a perfect body. What you need is discipline, A commitment to carve out that time daily, regardless of the weather or your mood, because those 30 minutes are an investment, a compound interest strategy for your future self. And for people over 70, it's one of the few movements that can be safely performed often at scale with massive upside and minimal risk. The irony is that walking feels easy until you can't do it anymore. And by the time it's hard, the damage has already been done. So the time to act is before the struggle begins. Build a habit now, train the capacity, create a buffer of resilience in your legs, your lungs, your life. Because walking is not just about staying mobile, it's about staying human. Lifting something that weighs at least 20 pounds may not sound like a milestone worth celebrating until you realize how central this basic strength is to everyday life. 20 pounds is roughly the weight of a bag of groceries, a toddler, a small suitcase, or a household chore that needs doing. It's not a heroic lift, it's a foundational one. And yet for many people over 70, this level of strength has quietly slipped away, leaving behind dependence, frustration, and a creeping sense of fragility. Strength is not optional as you age, it's essential. Muscle is not just tissue, it's a reservoir of vitality. When you lose it, your metabolism slows, your bones weaken, your balance falters, and your risk of injury skyrockets. Muscle protects you. It stabilizes your joints, cushions your bones, and quite literally keeps you on your feet. If you can't lift 20 pounds today, what happens when you need to catch yourself in a fall, or push yourself up off the floor, or carry something important up a flight of stairs? That lack of ability isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. But what's more important is that strength can be built at any age. Muscle fibers respond to resistance. Your body, even in your 70s or beyond, is still capable of adaptation. The process is slower, sure. The recovery is different, but the potential is there, waiting to be activated. This is not about lifting heavy weights for the sake of ego. It's about reclaiming your usefulness. It's about having the ability to contribute, to serve, to function independently. There is also a psychological shift that happens when you regain strength. You start to feel less fragile, less anxious. Strength builds confidence. It instills a sense of control, and that matters immensely, because when you feel capable physically, it ripples into your mental and emotional health. You don't see yourself as someone who's falling apart. You see yourself as someone who's still in the game. So lifting 20 pounds isn't just about the weight itself, it's about what it represents: capacity, resilience, freedom. And the best part, it's within reach. You can train for it, you can earn it back. You don't need to accept weakness as your default state. You can fight for your strength, and in doing so, you fight for your life. Balancing on one foot for 10 seconds might appear laughably simple, until you try it and realize how much is happening beneath the surface. This small test reveals a lot more than it seems. It's not about athleticism, it's about integration. Your muscles, joints, eyes, ears, and brain all have to work together seamlessly. When they don't, your body wobbles, and in those wobbles is a silent warning: something is starting to slip. Balance isn't just a physical skill, it's a neurological one. It's a reflection of how well your brain is managing your body and space. Your inner ear, your cerebellum, your proprioceptive feedback system, they're all coordinating in real time to keep you upright. When your ability to balance declines, it's not just your legs getting weaker. It may be your nervous system showing early signs of disconnection or cognitive aging. That makes this test a surprisingly strong predictor of both physical health and even neurological decline. For seniors, the consequences of poor balance are profound. Falls are the #1 cause of injury deaths in older adults. They break hips, cause traumatic brain injuries, and often start a cascade of hospital visits, surgeries, and long-term care. But it doesn't begin with the fall. It begins with instability that slowly creeps in until one small misstep changes everything. The good news? That kind of decline is not inevitable. Balance is a trainable skill. Practicing balance isn't about standing on a tightrope. It's about rebuilding the foundation of your movement system. Exercises that strengthen the feet, the core, the hips, and even the eyes and neck contribute to better control. The more you practice, the more the nervous system learns, Neural pathways can be retrained. Muscles can be retrained, and with consistency, what was once shaky becomes steady. There's also a deeper metaphor here. Balance is about control under pressure. It's about maintaining composure when everything around you is shifting. As you age, life throws more at you, physically, emotionally, existentially. The ability to remain upright, to center yourself both literally and figuratively, becomes a symbol of resilience. So when you stand on one foot, you're not just testing your stability. You're reclaiming your coordination, your independence, and your confidence. 10 seconds may be short, but they can reveal a lifetime's worth of potential. Getting up every morning with a reason to live might be the most powerful factor in determining how well you age and how long you live. While physical health is often the focus of longevity discussions, purpose is the force that animates it. It's the internal compass that tells you there is still something meaningful to be done, something worth facing the day for. Without it, no amount of muscle, balance, or mobility will be enough to keep you truly alive. The presence of purpose activates systems in the brain and body that support resilience. Studies have shown that older adults who report a strong sense of purpose have lower rates of heart disease, depression, stroke, and even Alzheimer's. They sleep better, they recover from illness faster, they're more likely to engage in health-promoting behaviors like exercise and social connection. In other words, having a reason to live doesn't just feel good, it translates into real, measurable outcomes in your body. But what does purpose look like after 70? It's not always about grand ambition or productivity. Sometimes it's about being there for a loved one, sharing wisdom with the next generation, caring for a pet, volunteering, creating something, telling stories. Purpose doesn't have to be loud. It has to be yours. It's the thread that pulls you out of bed even when your joints ache and the world feels heavy. It's what gives structure to your time and meaning to your actions. Aging without purpose often leads to stagnation, isolation, and a subtle, dangerous form of decay. The days blur, motivation wanes, and the mind, unchallenged and unengaged, begins to fold inward. But when you are anchored in something larger than yourself, something outside your immediate pleasure or comfort, you stay in motion, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That movement is life. The real power of purpose is that it's not handed to you, you choose it. You define it. No matter your age, you can decide that your life still matters, still carries weight. That decision shapes your identity and ignites your will. It gives context to your efforts and turns survival into living. When everything else starts to slow down, purpose is the internal fire that says, "Not yet. I've still got work to do." Because when you know why you're waking up, the how becomes a lot easier.